Some houses have dark histories, the kind that seep into the walls, into the foundation, into the earth beneath. Victor's new house was one of them. He should have noticed the price. Too low, too eager, too desperate to sell. But Victor didn't ask questions. He should have. The house was old, Victorian, 3 stories of creaking wood and peeling wallpaper. Victor loved everything about it. Everything, except the basement door. Heavy oak, with a lock on the outside. The realtor said it was for safety. Old stairs, people fall. But that didn't explain the scratches, deep gouges in the wood, running down from the inside. Victor's first night was quiet, too quiet. Then, at 3:17 a.m., he heard it. From below, from the basement. Victor told himself it was pipes. Old houses make noise. Then came the giggling, soft, high-pitched, like a child's laughter filtered through broken glass. Victor didn't sleep that night. By the 3rd day, Victor noticed the smell. Damp earth, rotting vegetables, something else, something sweet and wrong. He stood in front of the door for a long time, his hand on the lock. Every instinct screamed at him to walk away. But it was his house. He needed to know. The lock clicked open, and the smell rolled out like a living thing. The stairs descended into perfect darkness, 13 steps down. The air grew colder with each one. At the bottom, his flashlight swept across stone walls, dirt floor, shadows that seemed too thick. And then, he saw the hole. In the corner, a tunnel, freshly dug. Something had been digging, from the inside. Victor's beam found them in the dirt. Footprints, small, bare, with too many toes. They led from the hole to the stairs and back again, over and over. How long had something been coming up? How many nights had it climbed those stairs? How many times had it stood outside his bedroom door? Victor's hand trembled, and that's when he heard it. Breathing, not his own, coming from the tunnel. Something crawled out of the darkness. At first, Victor thought it was a child. Then the flashlight caught its face. Skin like old leather, eyes too large and too bright, reflecting the light like an animal's. Its mouth hung open, revealing rows of tiny, sharp teeth. The goblin tilted its head and spoke. Victor. It knew his name. Victor stumbled backward. His foot hit the stairs. The goblin didn't move, just watched. Its 2 long fingers flexed. "This is my house," it whispered. "You are visiting." Victor's throat closed. The flashlight slipped from his fingers. Darkness swallowed the basement. In the black, he heard it move, heard it climbing the stairs. Not down, up. Victor didn't run. He couldn't. The goblin stopped 3 steps above him. He could feel its breath on his face. Cold, sour, ancient. "We can share," it whispered. "You stay upstairs. I stay below. But you must follow the rules. Never come down after dark. Never open the door at night. And never, ever try to leave." Victor nodded. What else could he do? Victor lives in that house still. If you visit during the day, you'd never know. He seems normal, quiet, a little pale perhaps. But at night he locks his bedroom door, pulls the covers tight, and listens. On the floorboards below, to the soft giggling in the walls, to the sound of something small climbing the stairs. Every night it stops outside his door. Every night it waits, testing the lock, testing his obedience. The house is still for sale. Different name, different realtor, but the same price. Too low, too eager. Maybe you'll buy it. Maybe you'll think Victor's story is just a story. Maybe you'll ignore the basement door, the lock on the outside, the scratches running down. Maybe you'll sleep soundly that first night, until 3:17 a.m., when you hear it, and a voice from below calling your name. Because the goblin doesn't leave. It just waits for the next tenant, the next visitor, in its house. Victor tried to warn people. He put up posts online, made calls, but no one believed him. After all, who would believe in basement goblins? You will, when it's your turn, when you hear your name rising from the dark. Sweet dreams. There are places in this world where the old rules still apply. Places where the earth remembers what came before us. In the village of Blackroot, there was only one rule that mattered. Never walk into the forest after sunset. But rules are only useful to those who follow them. The trees in Blackroot Hollow were older than memory itself. Their roots rose from the ground like the fingers of something buried long ago, something that refused to stay dead. During the day, the forest was silent, too silent. But at night it breathed. James was 14 when his world shattered. His little sister Laura had gone to gather herbs near the forest edge. Just before dusk, she never came back. The village searched until the last light died. Then they stopped. They all stopped. But James took a lantern and stepped into the dark. The moment he crossed beneath those twisted branches, everything changed. The air turned cold. Sound vanished. Even the wind held its breath. And then he heard it. A soft whisper, sliding through the leaves like something hungry. James raised his lantern. The light trembled in his hand. Something was moving between the trees, something that had been waiting. At first he thought they were animals. Then he saw the eyes, small, glowing, watching. Dozens of them, and they blinked, in unison. From behind the roots, shapes emerged from shadow, short, twisted, with arms that bent in ways arms shouldn't bend. Their skin, the color of wet stone, stretched over bone, and their mouths, carved into permanent grins, filled with teeth like broken glass. Goblins. They didn't rush him, they simply watched. One tilted its head, studying him, learning how fear worked. The lantern flickered. The goblins leaned closer. James ran. Branches tore at his skin as he crashed through the darkness. The whispering grew louder, a chorus of voices that weren't quite voices. He tripped, fell hard. The lantern shattered. Darkness swallowed everything. Something cold brushed his ankle. He scrambled backward, and the ground disappeared. The forest opened its mouth, and James fell into Blackroot Hollow. He landed in a cavern lit by pale, diseased fungus. The walls pulsed slowly, breathing. Bones littered the floor, small bones, large bones, all stripped clean. From the tunnels above, the goblins crawled down the walls, moving like spiders. One stepped forward. In its twisted fingers, something small, something familiar. Laura's ribbon. James's breath came in broken gasps. The goblins began to hum, a low, hollow sound that vibrated in his bones. Behind him, the ground shifted. Something ancient was waking. The goblins fell to their knees. Behind James, something rose from the depths. Not a creature, a presence. Vast, breathing, ancient beyond measure. Its eyes opened one by one, each reflecting James' terror back at him. The goblins were never hunters. They were caretakers, and James had walked straight into the heart of their master's home. No one in Blackroot Village ever saw James or Laura again. But sometimes, on quiet nights, the villagers hear whispering from the forest, soft humming, the sound of small feet moving beneath the roots. And sometimes, if you stand at the edge of Blackroot Hollow long enough, you'll see them, eyes watching from the dark, waiting for you. Remember the rule: never walk into the forest after sunset, because in Blackroot Hollow, the forest always remembers, and it's always hungry.